Hi, I'm Rian Johnson, and this is an oral history of the Knives Out movies.
Eat shit.
What?
How's that?
Do
Fat.
not use that word in front of my son.
Eat shit.
If I
Eat
wasn't
shit.
practicing,
Eat shit.
I would slap that smug smile.
Definitely eat shit.
To me, I kind of wanted to, I don't know, I was just really excited about making a whodunit movie, and I didn't know if it would catch on or we'd be able to make more of them, but I knew I wanted to make this type of movie that I grew up loving. And part of the inspiration for that was Agatha Christie's books, but also these all-star, glamorous, kind of big fun adaptations that were done in the late 70s and early 80s. So this is started with Murder on the Orient Express with Albert Finney, and then Death on the Nile was really the sweet spot for me with Peter Ustinov and Evil Under the Sun. And these movies had David Niven and Ingrid Bergman and Maggie Smith, and they just had these amazing Betty Davis. They had kind of an entire generation of these amazing actors playing this ensemble of suspects. So that's what we were gunning for with that first movie. Is I thought, okay, let's see if we can kind of cast a rogues gallery of movie stars to come in and play these juicy little character parts in this ensemble.
You're a pack of vultures at the feast. Knives out, beaks bloody. Well, you're not getting bailed out. Not this time.
Well, I had written the script, and so and the character of Blanc was on the page. I think I described his accent as he has the slightest hint of a Southern accent, just because I didn't want to freak out any potential investors. With that script that we had, Daniel actually was like a very last minute get on our part. We didn't, because Daniel hadn't been available when we were trying to put the movie together. And so we had gone to other actors and just couldn't find one. He was always number one on my list, but he was making one of the James Bond movies and was not available. And then a miracle happened, and there was a delay in in the James Bond movie, and he had a 3 months that opened up suddenly. And so we jumped on that and got the script to him. And once he said yes to the script, we were shooting the movie, I think like 5 or 6 weeks later. It was really, really fast. Daniel and I dove in. I mean, the big thing that we figured out was the accent, and it was texting back and forth like YouTube clips of Faulkner and Faulkner we realized was very wrong. And we kind of went back and forth with a bunch of different options. I just kept saying I want it to be a pleasant voice to listen to. I don't want it to be twangy. I want it to be sonorous. We ended up kind of landing on the historian Shelby Foote, who is in a lot of the Ken Burns documentaries, the Civil War documentary that he did. The accent was kind of the big pre-production task for Daniel and I.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know why you guys. I'm also confused. I need to think.
Yeah, that's one of the early things that I kind of struck on with these movies is that Benoit Blanc can't be the main character. And the detective in a lot of Agatha Christie novels, like Poirot, you're rarely seeing the story through Poirot's eyes. There's usually another character whether it's Hastings or whether there's a local to the town that Poirot kind of engages with to solve the crime. But I think these are always best when the detective is a little bit mysterious. Yeah, Anna was the whole character is built around Marta and built around kind of her dilemma and her journey in that first movie. In some ways, Blanc is almost the antagonist in the first movie because you're afraid for much of the movie that she's going to get caught by Blanc, even though you sense he's sympathetic to her. Anna was kind of the starting point, and she was the very last person that we cast because we read different actors for that part, and it was a whole kind of auditioning process. She ended up doing such a beautiful job. It's a character that just immediately needs to have the audience's empathy. With Anna, she just plugged into it and could get that right away, and also is just such an intelligent actor and is just vulnerable and just all the things that the part needed.
I read your profile in the New Yorker. I found it delightful. I just buried my 85-year-old father who committed suicide. Why are you here?
Well, I mean, I guess it's when the first one came out and we saw audiences responding to it. And there was a point where my friends who have kids, when they started telling me that their, 12-year-old was really into the movie, that's when my ears perked up and I said, "Oh, this is something that," because for me that was the age that I was getting into those Agatha Christie movies. That's the age when they were connecting for me and forming kind of a lifelong love of these things. So it was in the wake of releasing the first one that I realized, oh, maybe we can make more of these. But I knew if I was going to make more of them, I didn't want to. That first of all, they would be like Agatha Christie novels, where it would be a different case, a different cast, a different setting, a different tone, a whole different deal every time. And also, I knew that if I was going to make more of them, I wanted to really explore the genre, and I wanted each of them to have its own identity. Besides just setting and tone, I wanted each of them to be trying something very different with the basic mystery. That, in addition to me writing during lockdown and thinking how great it would be to be on the Greek island right now, led to Glass Onion.
So this is it.
All together now. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it came out of the experience of lockdown very much. The Last of Sheila is a movie that I was very inspired by. And it's a movie that more people have been discovering recently, but it's still kind of a hidden gem. It's a great 70s murder mystery that was written by Stephen Sondheim and Anthony Perkins. It's an incredible 70s cast: James Coburn, Richard Benjamin, Diane Cannon, Raquel Welch, Ian McShane. It's an extraordinary cast. James Mason is in it. And it's just an incredibly fun mystery that's a big vacation mystery. That, and also the other big influence was Evil Under the Sun, which is the second Ustinov Poirot adaptation and has kind of a bigger, campier tone and is set on a beautiful vacation island. And those were kind of the two huge inspirations.
I think I might be going insane. In my mind is a fueled up racing car, and I got nowhere to drive it.
Can I ask you, have you tried crosswords?
Angela Lansbury, yeah. Well, I just kind of made a wish list, and because of the tone of Glass Onion and because of the fact that it kind of delved into celebrity to a certain degree, it felt like tonally it would be okay to have some fun cameos. And so I thought, well, who would Blanc probably be Zooming with during lockdown, playing Zoom games with? And so we got my whole fantasy list, which was really fun. The fact that I got to get on a Zoom with Stephen Sondheim, my hero, and that I got to just have like 20 minutes with him on a Zoom to record his part, but also to talk a little bit about his work and what it's meant to me. And yeah, he was a huge murder mystery fanatic. He was a big puzzle and game nut. He loved murder mysteries. I felt really lucky that I got to thank him for his work. Also, Angela Lansbury, I got to go over to her house and just record her with my laptop, and she couldn't have been lovelier. So it was a pretty special.
Are we even going to talk about the elephant in the room?
Am I the elephant?
Yeah, you're the elephant. You're not that bad.
I mean, we have gotten so lucky with each one of these casts, and because the tone was a little broader with this, the fact that we were able to get genius actors who were so tuned into their comic sensibility, like Catherine Hahn, and obviously like Kate Hudson. Oh my God. Catherine and Kate were kind of a dynamic duo on set. They were so much fun. But then you got a heavy hitter like Leslie Odom Jr. and you got Dave Bautista, who is such a good actor. I think he brings a real humanity to a part that could have easily just been a caricature. And then Edward Norton, who's, just a phenomenally intelligent actor and also has had in real life kind of lots of encounters with tech investment world. And so he brought a whole bevy of experience to it. Also, it was a real great experience because we shot the location stuff in Greece. So we were kind of on the mainland in Greece, but everyone had like a villa, and it was just kind of this magical experience. And then we shot all the stage work work in Belgrade in Serbia. And it was still lockdown, and we couldn't afford for anyone to get COVID. So everybody was basically in the same hotel together. To make sure the cast didn't go out and party on the weekends and get COVID, we would rent out the hotel bar at the top of the hotel, and we would all just get together and play murder mystery games. We would play Mafia and have dance parties. And so the whole shoot was kind of this magical party. It was really fun. It was great at it. Daniel was terrible at it. Oh my God. And Janelle was so good. I didn't even talk about Janelle, who anchors the entire movie and just puts so much work into it and is so good in it. And she, for these Mafia parties, I have no idea the size of the steamer trunk she packed, because she would show up in full costume for every single one with a whole different character that she came up with, like with a like a top hat and sort of a big Sherlock Holmes pipe and like a whole an English accent and everything. So she really got into it.
Alongside and underneath the party, you've been charged with a serious task. Because tonight, in this very room, a murder will be committed. My murder.
It was so much fun. Also because we had been shooting on that set at that point for like a month and a half, tiptoeing around all those plinths with the glass sculptures on them. And so by the time we got to that scene, the whole cast was so ready to start smashing that place up. So there was something cathartic about just destroying it at the end. And also shooting that final scene with the Mona Lisa with the slow motion elements of it. It was really fun because we would, you shoot it and you just do it full speed. It happens in 2 seconds, and then everyone gathers around the monitor and we play it back at whatever, the 200 frames a second that we were recording it. I would like play on my phone the Mona Lisa song while we were watching it, and it was really the whole cast would gather around. It was just one of those fun kind of gather around the campfire moments on set, except the campfire was the Mona Lisa.
Sure, of course, I'll tell him. I want us to connect, and
You'll tell him. You'll tell him. Contraction of the simple future tense, meaning you haven't yet told him.
Why wouldn't you tell him?
Well, the starting point for this movie for me was kind of, can I use a big, fun Benoit Blanc mystery, and can I take this topic that's really personal to me of faith and not just tuck that inside the mystery and hide it underneath this mystery, but can I have these two things inform each other? And can I have them both kind of be in dialogue, the big fun mystery and the topic of faith? One of the things that kind of showed me that could be possible are the Father Brown mysteries written by G.K. Chesterton, and I reread all of those. And in those mysteries, they're very fun little mysteries, but they also, in their own way, each kind of engage with the notion of morality. And Father Brown is such a great character. That was kind of a guiding light. But also the work of John Dixon Carr is very important to this movie, and the fact that he wrote impossible crime stories, and that seemed to fit really well with the idea of a miracle in the church. And so it all just kind of slowly coalesced. But it was a challenge. It was absolutely a challenge trying to get those two things to play nice. So I was deeply Christian through my childhood, through my teenage years, all the way into my early 20s. And I was Protestant evangelical, so I wasn't Catholic. I was basically a youth group kid, but I was very deeply personally Christian. And I'm not anymore. I did realize when I started writing the character of Father Judd, I was having real difficulty getting his voice right and getting him to feel honest. And I realized it was because I was writing from my perspective today, and I had to do kind of a method actor thing. I had to really genuinely put myself back and to seeing the world through the eyes of when I was a believer in order to write Father Judd honestly, which was, it was a real process.
Who are you?
I probably should have led with this. My name is Benoit Blanc. I'm a detective. I've taken an interest in the murder of Jefferson Wicks.
You're a detective, so you're with the police?
No, I work in a private capacity.
Oh, I didn't have to direct much. I mean, those two, you got two British actors who both kind of come out of the theater, and they just immediately got on like gangbusters. They were just taking the piss out of each other constantly and just having so much fun on set. I did not have to pedal very hard to get their chemistry going. They clicked into it pretty easily.
Wicks had a vast family fortune.
If made public can ruin people.
God forbid.
Yeah, and we've had amazing cast for all three of these movies. This one was really, really special. And for me, each one of, I mean, it's always the hardest thing creating. That's kind of task number one in these movies is you need like 6 to 8 suspects, and they all have to be distinct from each other, and you have to try and give them all kind of like a moment in the movie to have in their own arcs. The way I approached that was I thought about, you know, because the central hub of the movie is faith, I thought about my own experience with faith, and each one of the people in the flock kind of represents a different fragment of my own experience with faith. That means each one of them, I know that means for me as a writer, I know, okay, each one of them is genuinely going to have a different point of view on this central concept. And I'm going to start each one of them from a place of empathy for myself. So Kaylee's character is a cello player who has had kind of chronic nerve pain, and that's taken away her ability to do the one thing that kind of defines her. To me, that was just trying to create a character that embodied the deep, almost physical need for something bigger and for faith. And that's something that I can absolutely relate to, that ache, I guess. Or even the Daryl's character, the Sai, who's the influencer, who's kind of a, you know, the closest thing the film, along with Wicks, has to kind of a quote unquote bad guy. But even him, I mean, you know, I grew up evangelical Christian. I grew up and I was also politically very right wing when I was a teenager. I was in that world. And I'm the opposite of that now, but I can remember what it was like to be that. And I remember kind of being a young man and feeling like wanting a place of belonging, and also wanting to kind of rebel against what you see as the establishment of the world, and kind of raise a middle finger to it in this way. And so I don't know, there's a lot of my memories of what it was like to be a teenager in that world that plug into what drives even the character of Sai.
Here's what's gonna happen. Benoit frickin' Blanc and I are gonna ask you all some questions, and you're gonna answer them. We're gonna get to the bottom of who killed Monsignor Wicks and why, and then that's it.
I mean, it was fun. The scene leading up to it, and the conclusion of the scene, which are kind of intense dialogue scenes, that's where most of the work goes into, and that's where the real emotion kind of goes in. The actual stuff of the physical fighting, it's funny, that's the stuff that feels very impactful on screen. The reality is when you're shooting that, it's obviously very planned. Every single beat has to be carefully planned so no one gets hurt. The actual shooting of that is a little more fun. But it's the dialogue stuff where the real emotional violence comes into play. And those were intense scenes to shoot. I feel like I remember, you know, we were in the back of this real location, this stone church in England. I also remember that Reverend Jane, who ran the church basically, was there on set. And I felt her kind of over my back shoulder. She was very sweet. She was lovely. But I also had these two priests punching each other out. And I felt like, oh, I hope she's not offended. But I don't think she was. Also, I remember both of those actors. We shot Josh O'Connor's side first, and then we turned around and shot Brolin's side. And after O'Connor saw what Brolin was giving, he talked to me and said, I think I can kick this up another gear because Brolin's so good. I feel like I want one more shot at this. And so we turned around and reshot his side of it again.
It isn't a secret anymore. Now if we could just get back to breaking down those walls through Christ's love.
He says, what the holy heck?
Oh.
I'm sorry, Father. I came because I thought this was an official church function.
Only he didn't use the word heck.
I mean, Glenn is my favorite. She's amazing. I mean, she's such an extraordinary actor. She's also my favorite type of actor, which is an actor who's not afraid to go big. And in the beginning of the movie, I think that to me is the real magic trick of her performance. She starts the movie with the character being very broad, very big and broad, almost like young Frankenstein broad. To me, it's a magic trick how she shapes the arc of the character, where you never feel the character flip a switch or change. But by the end of the movie, in that confession scene with Josh, she is doing this fine scalpel work of emotional connection, and in her final moments, the moment where she forgives the character of Grace, to me, I tear up every time I watch it still. And that's all a testament to Glenn. I mean, she has such tremendous range as an actor. She's so good. You realize there's a reason she's Glenn Close. She's a legend.
Father Judd, once again, earning your keep. body, the murders in the Rue Morgue, Roger Ackroyd, the murder at the vicarage. My God, this is practically a syllabus for how to commit this crime.
I got a feeling that he's going to overcome that. Also, the internet has a short memory. I think there's going to be the trolls, but then there, and also I'm sure it's probably healthy for Benoit to have at least a couple of troll comments in his feed that say, just like you couldn't saw the one in the church, huh? I mean, I feel like that's probably a healthy thing for him. So he'll get over it, and he'll live to solve another day. And he knows that he solved it. I think that's what he braces himself with is, you know, I did solve it. I just chose to not make a big show of it.
It is time to discover what this flock of wicked wolves is hiding.
There's some Scooby-Doo shit going on here.
Scooby-Doo.
No, I haven't really. I mean, I'm writing something totally different next. Not because I'm burned out on these movies. I'm actually energized making this one, but I do feel like I've made 3 of them in a row. It'd be healthy to make something different next, and I have this idea I'm excited about. And then after that, down the line, we'll see. I mean, I would love to come back and make more of these. I also, yeah, I'm not quite sure yet where it would be, or more importantly, what it would be. You know, to me, I kind of don't want, after Glass Onion, I purposefully didn't want it to be another big destination mystery. I didn't want these to just be defined by, oh, we're going to Switzerland for this one or something like that. And so that's why I wanted to set this one just kind of in a small town. So for me, the setting is part of it, but the bigger thing is, what is the mystery going to be? What's it actually going to be about? All that fun stuff.